District of Hinds County, Mississippi is now in session. The Honorable Everett Hughes Gibbs presiding.
Please be seated. Good morning. I understand we're here today for the arraignment for the state of Mississippi versus Daniel Wayne Calihan, cause number 24-0466. Is that correct?
Yes, Your
Yeah. And of course, before I proceed, just want to make clarification that this is an open hearing, and I understand the door was locked by mistake earlier, because I think you always had the meeting in here, so I just want to make sure that we all know that it is an open hearing, so the public is invited.
Yes, ma'am. May it please the court, Your Honor. Michael Pfizer, counsel of record for Mr. Daniel Calihan, who is present with us this morning. Also present in counsel table with me is Mr. Terry Kucha, who's my colleague on the case.
Would you please say your name and spell it, please, so the court reporter can accurately reflect it?
Absolutely, Judge. It's Michael Pfizer, and that's spelled F-I-S-E-R. And Mr. Terry Kucha, who is C-U-C-C-I-A. And Mr. Cody Brown is present as well, Judge, and that's B-R-O-W-E.
You may proceed. I understand we need to arraign Mr. Calihan today, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Your Honor, on behalf of the state, Your Honor, Mr. Daniel Wayne Calihan has been indicted in a 7-count indictment in this court, cause number 24-0-466127. He's been charged with an indictment with capital murder, 2 counts of kidnapping, 3 counts of sexual battery, and for the possession of a stolen vehicle. Inasmuch as one of the charges is a capital murder, I was going to read that charge to the defendant here, and it's my understanding that after reading the count 1, that the defense is going to waive further reading of the indictment. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
You may proceed.
Thank you. The state would show that Daniel Wayne Calihan, while acting in concert with and aiding and assisting a co-defendant, Victoria Cox, on and about the 13th day of June 2024 in Hinds County, within the jurisdiction of this court, this defendant, a male human being above the age of 18 years, did, while acting alone and or in concert with and or aiding, assisting, or encouraging Victoria Cox and others known and unknown to the grand jury, did willfully, unlawfully, feloniously kill a human being who was 40 years old at the time, without the authority of law, by any means or in any manner done with or without design to effect the death of that human being, while in the commission of the crime of felonious child abuse. All within the jurisdiction of this court and in violation of 97-3-19, paragraph 2F of the Mississippi Code.
Your Honor, at this time, Mr. Calihan would enter his plea of not guilty to the indictment in the case, subject to withdrawal on filing of the petition for guilty plea, which the state will be filing presently.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. So while he was, you can do that prior to the vote.
Yes, Your Honor. It's my understanding, we have previously before the court a copy of the original petition to plead guilty. And the state would note that this defendant has indicated that he's going to be pleading guilty to the crimes of capital murder, as charged in count 1, kidnapping, as charged in count 2 of the petition, kidnapping, as charged in count 3 of the petition, sexual battery, is charged in count 4 of the indictment, and sexual battery is charged in count 5 of the indictment. The state is, at this point, is removing purposes, we are not pursuing the death penalty. In this particular case, after discussions with the family, and we are dismissing counts, requesting the court dismiss counts 6 and 7, which would be one sexual battery count and a possession of a stolen vehicle count. And there will be a recommendation to the court that's dismissed.
That is our understanding as well, Judge.
So now we're entering the plea petition phase. Mr. Calihan now is going to enter his plea of guilty. Is that correct?
That is correct, Judge.
If you would raise his right hand to be sworn in, do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, ma'am.
It is your desire to enter a guilty plea, Mr. Calihan, to the crimes of capital murder, kidnapping, and sexual battery, cause number 24-0466. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Before I can accept your plea of guilty, it is necessary that I determine that your plea of guilty is knowingly, understandingly, freely, and voluntarily made. In order for me to make that determination, then I'm going to ask you some questions. At any time I ask you something you don't understand, you have the option to turn to your counsel to get understanding of it, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
As I stated earlier, I do have your document in front of me that you signed. I see your initials at the bottom of this plea petition. Is that correct? Your initials at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am.
And the court sees your signature at the back. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
The petition also states that you are 37 years old. Is that
38.
correct? You're 38, and you finished through to what level?
11th grade in GD.
11th grade. Are you at the present time under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, ma'am.
Do you take any medications that may impair your ability to understand these proceedings?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Visor, have you had opportunity to observe your client today?
I have, Your Honor.
Does he appear to be under the influence of any drugs or alcohol that may impair his ability to understand these judicial proceedings today?
He appears fine, Judge.
Now, I'm going to ask you some questions, Mr. Calihan, that deals with the constitutional rights that you're waiving. I trust and I'm sure that your attorney's gone over with you already these constitutional rights, but I need to ask you again so that it will be reflected in the record. Do you understand that you have the right to proceed to trial and that the state has the burden of proving that you are guilty of the crime which you are charged with committing? But when you enter this plea of guilty, you are given up that right. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You also understand that you have a right to a trial by jury, and that if you went to trial, all 12 of those persons would have to vote to find you guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
But when you enter this plea of guilty, you're waiving that right.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand that if you chose to go to trial, that you have the right to cross-examine any witnesses that testify against you? But when you enter this plea of guilty, you're waiving that right.
Yes, ma'am.
You also understand that under the Constitution, you have the right to take the stand and testify on your own behalf. And if you were to do so, you would be subject to cross-examination. You'd also have the right not to testify. And the fact that you did not testify could not have been used or commented against you. But when you enter this plea of guilty, you are waiving that right. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand, Mr. Calihan, that if you went to trial and you were found guilty, that you have the right to an appeal? And that you could not afford an attorney to the cost of that appeal, an attorney would have been paid by the state. But by your entering this plea of guilty, you are waiving that right.
Yes, ma'am.
You also would have the right to, if you were to proceed to trial, you could have challenged the indictment that was brought against you. You also could have challenged the composition of the grand jury. But the fact that you entered this plea of guilty, you're waiving that right.
Yes, ma'am.
And I do know there is no right of an appeal of the guilty plea, and that the judgment of this court will be the final judgment. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The court wants to ask, have you received any threats? Has anyone forced you or coerced you or promised you anything to plead guilty on today?
No, ma'am.
So you're telling the court that you are freely and voluntarily entering this plea of guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
If the state would give us the penalties for the crimes on each count, Mr. Calihan, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Count 1, capital murder, that would be life without parole. It's the only penalty. Count 2 and 3, it's kidnapping, it would be a maximum of 30 years, a minimum of 1 year in the custody of Mississippi Department of Corrections. Counts 4 and 5, sexual battery, it's a minimum of 20 years in the custody of Mississippi Department of Corrections with a maximum sentence of life in the custody of Mississippi Department of Corrections.
Knowing all these things, and it's still your desire to enter a plea of guilty.
Yes, ma'am.
If the state would be able to afford the factual basis if you were to proceed to the trial.
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, should this case go to trial, the state would show that Daniel Wayne Calihan, while aiding, assisting, and encouraging Victoria Cox, did on or about the 13th day of June 2024, within the jurisdiction of this court, him being a male human being above the age of 18 years, did willfully, unlawfully, feloniously kill a 4-year-old female child without the authority of law by any means or any manner done with or without design to effect the death of that child, while in the commission of the felonious crime of felonious child abuse, as prohibited by 97-5-39-2, all of which occurred within the jurisdiction of this court and in violation of 97-3-19-2F of the Mississippi Code annotated. With regards to count 2, the state again would show that this defendant, while acting in concert with Victoria Cox, did on or about the 13th day of June 2024, within the jurisdiction of this court, willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously, and without the authority of law, forcibly seized, inveigled, kidnapped, and/or confined a 4-year-old female child against her will and against the will of her parents or persons having lawful custody of her by forcibly confining her at or near 3980 Oyster Drive, Jackson, Mississippi, all occurring within the jurisdiction of this court and in violation of 97-3-53 of the Mississippi Code annotated. With regards to count 3, again, the state would show that this defendant, while working in conjunction with Victoria Cox, did on or about the 13th day of June 2024 in the county aforesaid within the jurisdiction of this court, willfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and without the authority of law, forcibly seized, inveigled, kidnapped, or confined a 6-year-old female child against her will, against the will of her parents or guardians, or persons having lawful custody of her by forcibly confining her at or near 3980 Oyster Drive, Jackson, Mississippi, all occurring in the jurisdiction of this court in violation of 97-3-53 of the Mississippi Code. With regards to count 4, the state would show again that this defendant, Daniel Wayne Calihan, while assisting and encouraging Victoria Cox, did on or about the 13th day of June 2024 in the county aforesaid in the jurisdiction of this court, willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously engaged in sexual penetration as defined by Mississippi Code annotated 97-3-97 with a 6-year-old female child by aiding, assisting, or encouraging and/or participating in the act of Victoria Cox engaging in cunnilingus with a 6-year-old child, all occurring within the jurisdiction of this court and in violation of 97-3-95. With regards to count 5, the state would show again that this defendant, Daniel Wayne Calihan, did while assisting or encouraging Victoria Cox on or about the 13th day of June 2024 in Hinds County within the jurisdiction of this court, willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously engaged in sexual penetration as defined by Mississippi annotated 97-3-97 with a 6-year-old female child by penetrating that child's body with a part of his body at the time when he was more than 24 months older than that child, all in violation of 97-3-95. In addition, Your Honor, the state would show that this defendant did engage in a conspiracy with a co-defendant, Victoria Cox, in having the children secretly confined here in Hinds County against the will of their parents, at which for the purpose of sexual purposes, and that this defendant did actually observe the co-defendant, Victoria Cox, perform a sexual act on a 6-year-old child. Thank you.
Are these the charges you're pleading guilty to? That's all. Is there a recommendation from the state?
Yes, Your Honor. regards to count one, capital murder, the state would recommend this defendant be imprisoned for life in the Mississippi State Penitentiary without the possibility of parole. Count two, with regards to the kidnapping of one of the children, the state would recommend 30 years in custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections, with all 30 years of that sentence to be served. Count three is the kidnapping of the other child. The state would recommend 30 years in custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections, with all 30 years of that sentence to be served. Count four, sexual battery charge, the state would recommend that this defendant be in prison for life in the Mississippi State Penitentiary. And for count five, sexual battery, the state again would recommend that this defendant be in prison for life in the Mississippi State Penitentiary. As part of this recommendation, we would also recommend that each sentence run consecutive with each other and would run consecutive to any sentence that Mr. Calihan may be sentenced to through either the United States and or the state of Louisiana as set forth in the plea agreement. As part of this recommendation, the state is going to ask this court to dismiss counts 6 and 7, one being the sexual battery count, one being the 6 being the sexual battery count, and 7 being the receiving stolen property count.
Thank you. Is that the recommendation that you expected to hear? Mr. Calihan and Mr. Pfizer? That you're trying for Mr. Calihan, is that the recommendation you expected to hear?
It is, Your Honor.
And you are the counsel for Mr. Calihan, is that right?
I am, Judge.
From your conversation with Mr. Pfizer, do you think he fully understands the judicial proceedings today?
I do, Your Honor.
Have you advised him of all of his constitutional rights?
I have.
And you have represented him in kind of that manner?
I have, Judge.
Is there any reason why Mr. Calihan should not accept the recommendation?
None, Your Honor.
Mr. Calihan, are you satisfied with the services of your attorney, Mr. Pfizer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, if I may a little far ahead, I do have one matter. Yes, Your Honor, if the victim is present and at the appropriate time, I believe she would like to make, the victim's family member is present and would like to make a statement to the court prior to
Maybe
the
she
decision.
may come forward. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You may proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to speak. My name is Brandy Tosh. I am the sister of Callie and
And I
Eddie.
just tell me, please, what's your
Brandy, D-R-A-N-D-I, Tosh, H-O-S-C-H.
You may proceed.
I am the sister of Callie and an aunt to Aaron. I'm speaking today on behalf of my mom, dad, and myself. I speak these words again, hoping they echo in your mind, the way your actions echo in our lives. Here in Mississippi, you took the life of a precious, innocent baby. You stripped another defenseless child of peace and innocence. They had no way to fight for themselves, so we carry their voices for them. I have thought about this day many times. What will I say? Will it really make an impact to a monster, a predator, a murderer, a rapist, a thief, a coward. All of the things that you are. You have not only stolen Callie and Aaron's lives from us, but you have stolen innocence, peace, and life from our family. The hole you have left behind cannot be filled, and the pain that you have caused reaches far beyond any words I can say. We are forever changed in the worst possible way because of you. You have no limits, no soul. You are a demon. Not one single day goes by that we are not sad, lost, angry, or sickened because of you. I hope every time you close your eyes, your mind is filled with nightmares, and you never have rest. I hope every time you wake, you have nothing to ever look forward to again. When you look down at your own two hands, I hope you can't unsee what they have done. Those two hands tortured and violently took the life of a daughter, a mom, a sister, and a friend, and the last breath of a 4-year-old innocent baby. You took her life because she was scared and crying for her mama, her protector, her world. This cannot be undone, forgotten, forgiven, or even coped with. I hope you never have a single moment of peace in your life. As I watch my niece try to navigate her life with no mom, no sister, and no best friend, it sickens me that you get to live. Let's be clear, Daniel. Your life is being spared for one reason only, to protect my niece from ever having to see you again. You don't deserve this grace. I watch my niece looking at photos of her mom and sister. Photos, because that's all we have left because of you. She has asked me, Nanny, will he pay for what he's done to my mom and my sister and me? And we have promised her, yes, he will pay. You may not get the death penalty today, but you will pay. I trust in this. The Apostle Paul states clearly, do not take revenge, but leave room for God's wrath. My family, although exhausted with grief and anger, have never stopped fighting for our girls and to protect the world from you. You must be caged like an animal to keep others safe. Just think about that. You must be caged. When you finally take your last undeserving breath, I know then you will ultimately pay for everything you have done, and that is the only peace that we hang on to.
I have attempted to question you thoroughly, Mr. Calihan, about your plea of guilty and to be satisfied that you are fully acquainted with your rights. You still wish to plead guilty, correct? The court is finding that the plea of guilty of the defendant was intelligently, freely, and voluntarily made. The court is going to make this brief statement, which I tend not to make a lot of statements. Since my tenure on the bench, this is one of the most horrific crimes that I've had to preside over. It's my duty and responsibility to give defendants a fair and impartial hearing, and I've done so today. The crimes in which you are pleading guilty to: capital murder, kidnapping, sexual battery against victims who were the age of 4 and 9, and against society, as I stated earlier, are some of the most horrific crimes that I've had to endure since taking the bench. I hope this to read my last, if at all possible. However, it is my responsibility to ensure the safety of the public in rendering my verdict. I understand that the state has also spoken with the family, and they are trying to also take into consideration their wishes, which is why they have made the recommendation that they've made today.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Because the part I didn't say, I think I left out, is that when you do a plea, the court has the discretion not to accept that plea. But in this case, I think that the state, along with the family, have belabored, and they've given us their reasons why they are asking the state to pursue the recommendation that they have not submitted to the court. And it's also my understanding, and I think I will repeat it, I think the state has already stated the fact that Mr. Calihan has already been sentenced in Louisiana, and there's some further judicial proceedings that are to take place after this proceeding as well. And I'll state that again once I read my sentence. That is correct. That was something that I wanted to make sure. And when I read the crimes that was committed against the victims, my first inquiry was, had there been a mental competency? I want the court to know that, the family to know that. Because to read the atrocities that took place on that day among those children, I wanted to make sure that the person standing in front of me was mentally competent to stand trial, and that's our responsibility in the judiciary as well. And I have verification that Mr. Calihan is competent to be here today. Therefore, the sentence that I'm going to impose today will be a recommendation along with the recommendation of the family, which is to count 1, capital murder. Mr. Calihan will be in prison for life without the possibility of parole. We served in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections. Count 2, 30 years in custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections with all 30 years to be served. Count 3, 30 years in the custody of the Mississippi Department of Corrections with those counts 2 and 3 be served on each of those counts. Count 4 deals with sexual battery. Mr. Calihan will be in prison for life. The Mississippi Department of Corrections also for court. Count 5 for sexual battery to be in prison for life. The Mississippi Department of Corrections. Those sentences will be imposed today and will be served consecutively to each other. These sentences will also be served consecutively to the life sentence that's already been imposed by the 21st Judicial District Court State of Louisiana. They were sentenced on September 26, 2025 in case number 2401198. The sentences imposed today will be served consecutively to the sentence to be imposed by the United District Court from the Eastern District of Louisiana in case number 25-00001. The state has indicated that they are going to dismiss counts 6 and 7. And I want to make sure that my understanding was that Mr. Calihan will be serving his sentence in Angola prison. And we want to make sure that the sentence here included the Mississippi Department of Corrections, so that for any reason you were released for any reasons from Angola, you then will be serving here in the state of Mississippi. Is there anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further from the defendant?
Nothing further from the defense, Judge.
Court is dismissed.
All right.